You're listening to the AfterBuzz TV Network, now the largest new media platform on the web, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment.
Very good, Ian Johnson.
From the AfterBuzz Studios in Los Angeles, California, and streaming live on Ustream, this is AfterBuzz TV for The Good Wife. We'll break down tonight's episode and get you all the latest news and gossip about The Good Wife. If you'd like to buzz in on tonight's show, you can buzz us at 424-256-1729. That's 424-256-1729. And now, picking up where the show leaves off and the buzz continues, it's AfterBuzz TV for The Good Wife.
Hello, and welcome to AfterBuzz for The Good Wife, Season 3, Episode 3, Get a Room.
Yay!
Aired Sunday, October 9th. I am Billy Nilles, your host, and I'm joined by two very lovely ladies today.
Yay!
Chrystee, Pharris, and Natasha Dixon.
Hello, everyone.
Yay.
Welcome to the show.
What's up?
Hello. So, before we get into some in-depth conversation, I think we should do a quick overview. We saw a new face tonight. We met a new lady in the Good Wife world. And we also saw the return of a few characters we haven't seen in a little bit. Jackie and Owen both came back this weekend. So we saw Alicia and Will going toe-to-toe with this new woman, Celeste, who we find out is Will's ex-girlfriend. Last week, we erroneously called her his ex-wife, but come to find out that she wasn't his wife.
Only a girlfriend.
Yeah, we apologize for that.
Oh, my bad.
So Alicia and Will are going toe-to-toe in this court-ordered mediation in this really intense medical malpractice case where a woman had degenerative disc disorder and the doctor put in a non-FDA approved device, and it was a big mess. It's a big mess this week. Really kind of a convoluted case.
It was very complicated.
Yeah, there's a lot of twists and turns. I literally had 4 pages of notes. There was so much going on in that case. So we saw Alicia and Will battling with that. And we also saw another sort of clash of Eli and Diane this week. It was an interesting dynamic to see these two who we haven't really seen together yet, battling over how to handle this dairy company's PR disaster over some tainted cheese in the Chicago area. So what do you guys think of this week? Good episode overall? Were we into it as good as we were into last week's?
It stimulated me a lot because I felt like there was so much going on. And I kept just thinking, okay, the writers are showing out. It was as if they just decided, okay, we're going to put so many shows, storylines, and then just weave them together. So it stimulated me. It stimulated me and it was very complicated. I did want to see, I don't know, I like more of the characters' interaction rather than
the case.
Rather than a case. I mean, the case took up a lot of this week's show. Yeah. So
and I think that's why I didn't like it. I wasn't that impressed this particular week. I was like, who wrote this episode? I was like, was this like a junior person coming in where they get like one show? Yeah, I mean, I was just like, not like the, last week or, I just felt, or the week before, I really was just like, okay. And I think it was just more because of the case.
Right.
Yeah. Was just getting in the way. And I really, so it's not that it was a bad episode. I shouldn't say that because, congratulations to the writer. You did a wonderful job. I think I would have rather see, like what you were saying was the interaction between the characters is what I'm more interested in as opposed to the case.
Right.
So,
I definitely agree. I think it was definitely fast paced. It was moved at a breakneck speed. And there was maybe a little bit of a pushback on some character development in response to this overwhelming case that we need to focus on. But getting into it, I have a question for you guys. What did we think of Celeste? We know she's going to be around for a little. What are your initial impressions on Celeste?
Yeah, I did just say that.
I was like, did she just use our word on TV?
Yes, I did. I didn't like. She's doing her job. She's doing her job because I didn't like her.
Right.
It wasn't even one of those things. Sometimes when I see a woman who's very strong and that character, and she's trying to run the show. Sometimes I gravitate to that and I like it, and she's sensual, but she just got on my nerves. And I don't know if that was me just because I'm in Alicia's corner. I'd be like, Alicia's my homie. Don't try to step, kind of from that perspective.
Right.
I don't know what was going on with me, but I was watching her and I was just annoyed.
Yeah.
I was so annoyed by her.
I was definitely annoyed. So hopefully that was because of a character choice that she made.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, I would imagine that's what it is. But I liked her at the same time. Do I really want to I liked her on this episode, but do I really want to see her come back? Shamefully, especially me being an actor, that's the last thing that you want to have somebody say. But I didn't really necessarily need her to come back.
Right. And they left that sort of open where towards the end, after the mediation was over, she appealed to Will that she needs a new home. Her firm is dissolving.
And, I don't want her working
no. Right.
Let her work on the opposite team and let them have some fighting and, but no.
Yeah,
I didn't.
She was a good sparring partner, but do we want her to come in and be on their same team? I don't know about that.
No, she has to be on the opposite side. I don't want her on the same side. I would love to see her come back, but I definitely don't want her on the same side.
Right.
I think that's why I was being so mean. Like, I don't want her to come back, but I really would love for her to come back. That's like having what's our boy? Cary. That's like having Cary come back to the firm. It just wouldn't work.
It wouldn't work anymore.
Yeah. I wouldn't want to see her.
Yeah.
No.
I wouldn't want to see her back.
Okay.
She did nothing for me in that sense of like, ooh, I want to see more of her. I mean, there were other characters I would say, I would love to see more what this person has to offer than her.
Okay. So what did we think? Obviously, we don't want her to come back. We don't want her with the firm. But what did we think of those scenes with her and Will alone, with the cards, where everything was about risk and betting?
I didn't see the relationship between the two.
Right. And maybe that, I don't know if we were supposed to yet. Maybe because she's coming back. There was definitely allusions, like when she wanted to bet the entire outcome of the case on that hand that was dealt.
Yeah.
There's definitely allusions where she was like, what happened to you? The old Will would have done this. And that, I think, was a surprise to us because that's not a Will that we've ever seen on the show.
No. Right.
And so I guess, it's maybe more for predictions, but I'm worried, is this something that's going to bring something out in Will that we haven't seen?
That I could totally see that, because I think there is another side to Will that we don't see.
And I think when not older, but people that you've known for a long time, when they come back into your life, you go back to your old ways. Right. Especially if if your parents come into your life, you go back to the way you were when you were a kid. Yeah. So that could be something that they're going to draw out and bring out. I love the reaction that he had when you were bringing up. When he could have got the 10, where they were playing the cards, and he walked away and he realized he could have got.
You would have won.
Yeah, you would have won. That expression that he had on his face. He
was like, I should have. Right.
It was classic. We've been hanging around a little too much together. Yeah, and so, but yeah, it will be interesting to see, what they decide. What they're going to decide to do with that.
Yeah, I think that was definitely sort of a peak of maybe he's like, that was fun. That was.
The risk.
Yeah. So,
but I didn't see a chemistry. I didn't see a chemistry between
the two of them.
They did not. I didn't see the history. I don't see, here, it just seems like two people, having a conversation, but I didn't see the history.
I saw her history. I didn't see his.
Yeah, he seemed much more closed off.
Yeah, it seemed like he just put up the wall. He was
and that's what you're supposed to do.
Yeah,
so you're right, because I did see the history with her.
And
because she was so ready, she's walking to the room like she's about to go in.
The history was there, but I think she was also trying to play it in her favor. I think she was doing it as a tactic.
Yeah,
because she also wanted to win.
Right.
And that seems like her character. She seems like that person's going to do whatever it takes to win. She didn't. Right. Technically, I would say she doesn't care about Will.
Yeah.
And maybe she does, but I think of her as that woman who she doesn't care. She wants to know, what she can do to get this case in her favor.
Right. And then beyond that, obviously, find herself a new job.
Yeah.
So it's not, now that the case is over, she still has an end game. She still has a goal, and she's going to use whatever she can.
Yeah.
To get that accomplished.
If she has to seduce him to do it,
so be it.
Yeah, so be it.
Right. So what was interesting, I think, moving on from Celeste with Alicia and Will this week, my favorite scene was when they were in the mediation and Will had already let Alicia know that she was going to play on her jealousy. And Alicia played along perfectly and walked out of that room, and that smile on her face when she knew that it worked and the mediator was sort of curried to their favor.
Yes,
that was great. That was like one of my favorite scenes this week.
Right. That was a good scene. And I love the fact that I also love the fact that Celeste knew that Alicia knew.
Yeah.
She was like, that was too easy.
Right.
Yeah. She's like,
wait a minute.
She knew she was.
I know, she was so
She knew
mad.
she played right into
I'm
that hand.
And just walked out.
And she was like, yeah, okay.
That was so funny. That was. And the look on her face was amazing.
Yeah.
I think that shows how Will and Alicia, work well together.
Right.
Where they can still be open with each other in that sense and still have fun. It hasn't gotten too serious with them.
Right.
Right.
Exactly.
I think that's why I was a little disappointed, because I thought the way that they pumped up the preview for this particular episode, I thought it was going to be some type of jealousy thing, like Alicia was going to show a little bit more because this woman is coming back. But that's not what they did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I think that was part of me feeling like, oh, there's going to be some conflict. And that didn't happen. And I think that's why I was a little disappointed.
Right. And what was even more interesting was when we see Alicia and her brother speaking about this situation she's in with Will. All episode, he's trying to pry the truth out of her. He knows something's going on, and she is avoiding it at all costs until the end, where she sort of lets in. And their final conversation, the conversation that closes the show, he is talking about her sort of being rebellious now. And she's like, oh, is that what I'm doing? And he's like, either that or it's love. Is it love? And she says, no. And the episode ends. So, I mean, what do we think about that? I mean, all along, we've been led to believe that Will was the one that got away. Will was the love that she didn't get to experience. And now here we have her saying it's not.
I think she doesn't want to love him. I think I think it goes to that. And she's still searching and finding herself after this crazy divorce, and where is her value, and where does she stand?
Right.
So she's just like, no, I'm not going to talk about that. Like, I'm not even thinking about love. That's what I think. I think she does not want to go there. She doesn't want to love him.
And she
Or
might.
so soon.
Yeah. She might want to just have this fling and go back to her husband at some point in time. She's also thinking about her kids. Her kids are teenagers. The last thing she's going to do is end up in a relationship with her boss, with her kids being, that's going to destroy the relationship that she has with her kids.
Right.
Yeah. So she has at least 3 years.
Yeah, exactly. So I think that's just her 8:15.
He's her 8:15.
That's her 8:15.
Right.
Hey, 8:15 means I'm getting the booty call. That's what it means.
Yeah.
Anytime we
Right.
say that, that's what it means. And so,
And-
that's what she did.
And they have a good enough relationship where that's what it can be, and it's not complicated yet. Yeah,
I think
because
yet
it's
is
always
the
going to
key
get
word.
complicated. It's
Of course.
inevitable.
Right.
But right now, it's, they just put it out there. We're being, so to speak.
Right. And I think what's also
And-
interesting, sorry to cut you off.
Oh, no, good. Go ahead.
In the conversation with Owen, he also asks, are you going to get hurt? And she says, I don't know. So I think that beyond her maybe just not wanting to be in love yet, she still has all this other unresolved stuff with Peter. I think also maybe she's hesitant because she doesn't know. She's seen Will as a playboy. Even though she's maybe loved him from afar, he has been a playboy. He was on the top 50 eligible bachelors of Chicago. All these things. He's clearly, I think, still has a girlfriend in that other girl from last season. I don't think that ended.
Oh.
I think that she's still somewhere in the realm waiting for Peter.
She'll creep up.
Or,
in
excuse
the-
me, for Will. So I think that maybe she's also trying to protect herself and not get in too deep because she doesn't know if she, in fact, has that reciprocated from Will.
And, she hasn't had sex in a long time. I mean,
Right.
she only had sex with Peter that one time, and that whole, so not only was he in jail,
Yeah.
then on top of that, he's living at home with her, and they're not having sex.
And even
finally-
before he went to jail, they probably weren't, and that's why he was with all
Yeah.
the
there
other.
you go.
Yeah.
So now,
just wants
she's
some.
like, look,
Yeah.
She gotta
just
get
wants
hers.
some.
I want it
She's
without
getting it.
thinking. I want it in the bathroom like they were going to do, in the office. She's like, look, I'm just going to get mine, and I want to enjoy this. I don't want to think about it. I want to be present in the moment and keep it moving.
Yeah, without the quote unquote conflicts.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Right. Okay.
But eventually it'll happen. And I also feel like the writers we have to save something. They couldn't just give it all to us,
I
You
know.
gotta save a
We have a
little bit.
whole probably 22 episodes to go.
Yeah.
They were just full blown in a relationship about to get married. Season
Right.
be over. Well,
Right.
Not really, but you know what I mean?
Well, last night we also saw a new pairing that we hadn't really seen, like we mentioned earlier. Eli and Diane finally got some scenes
That was
together.
nice.
Some meaty sort of clash of the titans. These two people at the top of their game who were obviously, they had the same agenda. They needed to protect this dairy company.
Yeah.
But they had opposite ways of thinking they needed to do that. And I think what was interesting is this is the first time we've seen how bringing Eli into the firm, even though he's not a lawyer, how what he does actually can conflict with what the firm does, even though they
Right.
need him on the financial end. Because we see that Eli wants to protect the image of the company at all costs, whereas Diane only wants to protect them legally, so there is no way anyone can come at them.
Right.
Yeah.
And so we saw some really meaty conflict this week. The two of them just screaming.
Right.
Scenes would end before the resolution. There was even a resolution. I love that cutaway when they were just like mid-sentence yelling at each other, and it just
Right.
left them. We just knew that never ended. That just continued.
It's going to be interesting to see who he ends up pairing up with,
Right.
We see the dynamic between him and Kalinda that's building, and then now you have it with Diane. Now I'm just curious to see because they always match people up. Who's going to be the partner that you're with all the time?
Right.
So I'm curious to see how seems like they're just playing to see where he's going to fit. Where do we like him?
Right.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's going to be interesting to
So
see.
the writers are testing him
Yeah,
out. Where
where
does this
they're
character fit
going.
into this world?
Exactly.
He went into gangbuster mode.
Yeah.
I was so just impressed with that. The scene when the guy came in, and then when he looked on the news and saw what was going on, and he just shifted.
Oh, he was
just
living.
It was like somebody snapped their finger and he just turned into a pit bull.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's so refined with it.
Right.
I was like, oh,
It was a real showcase episode for Alan Cumming
it
this
was.
week. I mean,
It
it seems like
was.
each episode's turning into a showcase
And I'm-
episode
and
for
I'm
Alan
not
Cumming.
even-
But
Exactly.
yeah, and I'm not even attracted to him, but that was kind of sexy.
Oh yeah.
I'm
No,
like,
he is a sexy
Eli
man.
Gold.
and I think it was, I mean, I feel like it was, I mean, we watched him sort of work on Peter's campaign all last season,
Yeah.
but I feel like tonight was the first time that we really saw and understood what he does. From the get-go when he's approached. I think
Yes.
tonight was the first time where it was like, okay, this is how voracious this person is. This is how intense he is.
Right.
Because we've seen moments of that, but now that they're sort of fleshing him out larger, we're really getting to understand how good this man is at what he does.
Yeah, from start to finish.
I have to say though, I missed the relationship that he had with Peter. I'm not liking the fact that they don't talk anymore.
Yeah.
They haven't had an interaction. And I miss the conflict that he had and the relationship that he has with Alicia. I love that fighting, but yet respect that they have for each
Yeah.
other. And we haven't had a chance to
We
see
haven't
that.
really seen any of
so,
that yet.
I mean, I love the fact that they're bringing him on as a series regular. Maybe he was a series regular then, but now I see him on the cover of a lot of stuff. But I do kind of miss the dynamic of where he was before.
Right.
It's great that I see him more often in the firm, but I miss that with the little girl and
Yeah.
Peter and Alicia. They're creating this whole world for him, which I think is great, but I do kind of miss the other side.
Right. And
I think
hopefully,
we'll be able to see that, especially how they started bringing in his history and his past, into this episode.
right.
And it started to affect his client.
Right. And I definitely, what was interesting, I think, and what maybe will lead to some more of that is he's angry that somebody leaked what he was doing. So he's on to something. He knows, and he knows it was a guy. So I think we might that will grow to some more attention where we'll get to see him interact.
Will.
And Will does not want him on his bad side.
No.
I would not want
Eli Gold to.
he needs to be in my back pocket.
Right.
And Will, I wonder if Will realized what he was doing.
Well, Will.
Or the
I mean, he sold him
magnitude.
out.
He sold him out, but I wonder if he understood the magnitude of what he was doing. I know there was a glimpse of that because at one point, when he said, "Oh, I'll talk to Eli about that," and the girl said, "Well, that
That's
wouldn't be
not a
backdoor
backdoor,
then."
right.
And I saw the glimpse. I saw something.
Or he knew that it was going to.
Yeah, there was something there that said he knew something, but the writers could take this so far.
Right. And I think this also can lead into a clash between Will and Diane, because I think that Diane's probably going to be a little pissed that Will did that, because Eli brings in more money maybe than Will does at this point, perhaps. So I think that it's definitely, we'll talk about it a little bit later, but there's road for a lot of conflict here in what happened tonight.
Yeah.
Down the road. There was a quick scene that I think was really interesting that I wanted to touch on when Kalinda, this video, I can't.
Oh, the video. I know.
This girl.
I know. She's something else.
This scene actually was very interesting. Just, you know, here he is. He's dealing with this with one child. And then he's dealing with the other stuff with the other child. You know, he's just sitting here like, what is going on in this household?
I love him.
And how do I deal with this? You know, he reminds me so much of John Ritter.
Yeah, he does.
Oh, yeah, he does look a little bit like him. I didn't
he
place
does.
that before.
But this girl, she's shady. Something's going to come up.
I really, I wonder this has continued. I'm wondering where this is going, what this girl
shady.
has going on.
She's a mole.
There's something,
Wow.
Somebody's planted her. I'm just playing. I don't know. I'm just.
She's going to change that. You know, she's going to change it. That little girl went from being, I'm so Christian and I, you know, don't want to do wrong, no sinner, to probably dancing out there in the middle of the street with some dudes, you know.
Right.
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting.
And she's unapologetic. She's just kind of like, hey, yeah, I'm dancing with some people on, you know.
I just want to make sure that I wonder if this girl is actually learning, if Grace is actually learning something in school.
She's learning how to freak a man on upstairs. That's what Grace is learning.
Right.
I'm just saying.
And you're like, I'm just saying.
It's definitely, it's bringing it, like what you were talking about when last season she was the Christian girl, and she is definitely, she seems like a girl who's lost.
Yes.
Yes.
And she latches on to someone who shows her some attention, who's her age.
Right.
And she develops that personality, but she quickly sheds it just as fast, because there's been no mention of her religious fervor that she was in last season.
And that's dangerous. She's in a dangerous place.
Yeah.
Another opportunity for conflict.
Exactly. If the wrong person, I mean, who knows what intentions this nut job tutor has. So
and that's exactly how I see her, a nut job.
Yeah. There's something off.
Yeah, I'm curious to know what they're going to do with it, and where she's, you know, it's definitely good, especially if something happens to her, some sexual thing ends up happening,
Right.
and all of a sudden, you know, the parents are going to start blaming Alicia and Peter are going to end up blaming each other.
Yeah.
Well, it's because of you, and well, it's because of you, and
Exactly.
it's going to be interesting.
Moving on, there was a small scene this week that I do think was really kind of important to talk about. That scene with Kalinda and Cary.
Oh my goodness, that was loaded.
Very
That
loaded.
to me
It was
was
short
my favorite. That was my favorite
and
scene.
loaded.
That was
Yeah.
my favorite scene of the night.
So we have Kalinda going to Cary to find out if they've leaked the FDA or the fact that the state's attorney is not going to pursue the doctor for fraud in the case. Kalinda wants to know if that's for real or not. And Cary shuts her down. He's not giving her any more information. And basically puts her on blast and tells her that you fake friendships, you play on people's emotions to get what you want, to further your investigations. And is any of this real? And I think that we saw that Kalinda was really sort of shocked.
Yeah.
Do we think she's shocked because she thought that Cary sort of knew that all along, and why is he surprised? Or do you think she's shocked because she didn't realize people saw her like that?
I saw it more from the perspective of she couldn't believe he would think that.
Yeah.
I think she has feelings.
Yeah.
Right.
She's like, I have feelings. And yes, I might have a wall, but that doesn't mean I'm a user. He basically was like, you're a user, you know, just with like 10 lines.
And she is.
Yeah, I mean,
and, you know, and she knows that's what she does.
but I think how he was saying it was as if the people she's not using aren't getting anything in return.
Right.
Because they're being served in some way. Right. Even with, you know, him dealing
Peter,
with her.
well, and also that's how Peter got served, you know.
Literally.
Literally.
On a hot tray.
Yeah.
Plate. I'm talking mess.
Yeah.
No, but I think her feelings were hurt.
Yeah.
If Kalinda can have hurt feelings, how they portray her. But Cary was he was acting like a little
Really? I thought he was like, listen. listen, I'm tired. I'm letting you know I'm going to be authentic, and I'm going to let you know how I feel, which is, no, you're not doing this anymore.
Right.
You're not coming in here getting information because all you do is sit here and you use me.
Yeah, I understand I understand him using his words, but he seemed like his feelings were hurt because she used him. Like I don't know. I did not expect him to take the role. He looked like a little puppy dog. He was like,
right.
Like he just looked.
Wah, wah.
Yeah, he was like, well, it wasn't even as in authority. I did not sense that he was saying, I'm here. I'm using my words. No, this is not going down. I sensed like, well, you hurt me and you're a user. And I mean, that's what I got from it when I was watching it. I was like, okay, well, that's a start using your words.
Right.
Well, last week we had talked about if there was maybe some romantic tension between them. Do you think that that's what Cary thought where this was going, and now he's sort of realizing that wasn't there, and
that's the impression I got,
and that it was just.
Or he could have been just using that as an excuse because he knows that Peter Flor, he can't give more to Peter, especially the relationship between him and Peter. That could be his reasoning for shutting it down.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, that's true.
He could have just been using it like, look, you've been using me. But really, he's like, okay, this is a great excuse because really the real reason is that I'm working for Peter now.
Right.
And it's against your firm, and I'm not giving you any more information.
Right.
So, but the sad part about with Kalinda is that, it's like her two best friends now just completely just
right.
Shut her down.
You got Alicia and now you got Cary. You're like, dang, I have no other friends.
Right.
She has Eli.
She's going to gain Eli.
She's got Eli.
She won't let anybody in, though. The only people that she seems like she's ever let in is Cary and Alicia.
Do we think that maybe this season is going to be the season where Kalinda sort of realizes that these two important people she's lost, and maybe we're going to see a change in her? Do we think that's possible that Kalinda can change, or do you think she's sort of just stuck and this is who she is and she has to accept that these people let her go because she's not going to change who she is because this is her job and what she does? Or do we think that it's possible that she can change? And maybe are we going to see that this season?
I think we're definitely going to see it. I think she's going to get a little hard, and then I think she's going to have a breakdown. I think that's what makes great drama.
Right.
So she's going to have a breakdown. Because now we're pulling for her. We're pulling for her to be able to have those relationships.
And to get them back.
I'm pulling for her that I want her to get the relationship.
And I think that was the intention, at least in this scene, where we're now, we sort of feel for Kalinda. Mm-hmm. We see that maybe this is waking her up to maybe where she didn't realize the extent of her using and what it did to the people who actually thought that she was their friend.
Yeah. I think if this was daytime drama, she would go real gangster real quick and real hard. And because sometimes when you lose everything, you get to a point where you're like, yo, I don't care. Yeah. And I don't know.
That's what she said with Will. She told Will, I don't need friends.
Yeah.
Right.
So,
and I think that's a front, though. I think she's putting this up, and I think that, like you said, maybe mid-season we're going to see.
Gotta
so
see
change. Kalinda's Kalinda. I wouldn't want to see her go soft.
I just want to see, not that I want to see her go soft, but I would love to see her and Alicia go hard together.
Right.
And that builds their friendship. And then
nice.
That builds their friendship back because they're like, we going hard.
Yeah.
And then that builds their friendship. Like there's a respect level. Because you might not even have to be friends, but at least the respect will be there again. And you can say, oh, okay, cool.
And they can actually work together.
We can work together, and I have respect for you. I don't like the fact that you slept with my husband, but I had to throw that in. But at least I have respect for you, and we can work together.
Because we see this week, Kalinda, when Diane calls her and tells her that they also need her for the PR thing, but she has to be in both, Kalinda immediately leaves the hotel. She has an opportunity to not deal with Alicia.
Yeah.
She won't answer. Alicia won't answer Kalinda's phone calls. Neither of them will have anything to do with each other. And I think that, above anything else, is what I'm missing this season. I miss interaction between the two of them. They were like the best pair.
Yeah, because there is no female relationship, is there?
Not really.
Friends. Yeah.
It seemed like they were going to develop. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Well, yeah, Alicia and Diane have really never had a relationship. They sort of coexist.
Yeah.
They flow amongst each other, but they never cross each other's paths, really.
They had one conversation. You said Diane, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, they had one conversation where it seemed like that they could kind of relate a a little bit, but then that was like season 1. It was a long time ago. But then it seemed like they never did anything after that. But I think it's going to be some major conflict when she realized she's sleeping with Will. When Diane finds out that she's sleeping with Will, I can't wait to see what Diane's reaction is.
I think Diane's going to be pissed at Will. Like,
oh, goodness.
More at Will.
Yes. More at Will.
And then the only way that she's going to not be pissed is if she gets that one dude coming back and then she's getting some from him again. And then she's not going to care anymore because she's getting some herself.
Yeah, she needs
but since she's not getting any, she's going to be mad.
Yeah, that's going to add. That adds on top of it.
It's going to add. And then when you get some, this is like we had somebody on my show, and everybody really thought that she was, not everybody, but a lot of people just had conflicts. Not everybody. Some people had conflicts. But then when she started dating, everybody's like, oh, keep dating. She's getting some, and then her whole energy changed. And then she was the nicest person in the world.
Walking around smiling.
Happy. Yeah, so that wasn't my experience, but there were a couple of people who felt that way. And so with that being said, that might happen with Diane.
It might.
If she could get some.
Yeah. Well, on that note, we're going to take a commercial break, and we will be right back.
All right.
Want to find out what the AfterBuzz is about?
Janice is a drama queen.
This is the divide that is going to carry the series.
Give us a call. 424-256-1729. 424-256-1729.
It's television, and they want it to be as dramatic as possible.
I mean, it's Shakespearean.
You never know what goes on behind closed doors.
Find out why AfterBuzz TV is the #1 source for after-show content.
Now, in the eyes of Jimmy, Nucky is a villain.
424-256-1729. 424-256-1729.
I mean, who would you guys rather hear that from? Your husband or your best friend?
The wig will come out.
When the TV show is over, get your AfterBuzz on.
Welcome back to AfterBuzz, Good Wife, Season 3, Episode 3.
Back.
Again, if, like we just said in the commercial break, if you want to call in at any time, 424-256-1729. Let us know what you're thinking this season, this episode. Real quick, we're going to jump into some news and gossip with DJ Jesse in the booth.
AfterBuzz TV News.
All right, so on how the character of Eli Gold is loosely based on Chicago Mayor Rahm Emanuel. Sometimes when you play someone who's very, very different from yourself in a role that you don't really know and actually understand, it's sort of daunting. But actually, I thought of Eli just as I've thought of many other characters I've played that I don't know anything about. But they tend mostly to be superheroes or animals or, kind of mythical characters. So I put him in that same gallery. I did a little bit of research, and the sort of coiled spring nature of him that I find quite helpful. It was more about reading about him and seeing the public face and then imagining what the private one was like. When he loses, it's about passion. It's about this absolute, inexorable need to just vent about the fact that he hasn't been able to do his job properly. I'm sorry, this was an NPR interview with Alan Cumming.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome.
Yeah, so I had no idea that he even based the role on Rahm Emanuel.
I didn't either.
Yeah.
I didn't either.
So that definitely adds a layer to it because we all know what a hothead Rahm Emanuel can be.
Yeah, but he's so charming though.
Right.
In the same,
exactly.
charismatic and charming. So he has that essence.
It makes a lot more sense now.
Yeah, it totally makes sense. He definitely grabbed Rahm Emanuel's essence.
Yeah, definitely.
To the core.
All right, so a little bit of Gold in Emanuel's backstory. Eli has this past where he was a concert pianist, and it hasn't really been developed yet, but there's like a metronome in my office and this little basket of piano keys, like a sort of little
tchotchke
thing. But I think that's interesting because I didn't know until I started this that Rahm Emanuel was a former ballet dancer.
Oh,
I could totally see that.
That's very interesting.
He has the voice. That is so interesting.
Yeah. I'm excited to see, though, if they do bring up his past. I think we're getting there into Eli's backstory.
Yes.
So, I mean, the fact that he was this concert pianist, and I'm excited to start peeling these layers back on Eli and definitely get into who he is.
I could totally see him having a spin-off.
Oh, he could.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert!
Love it.
A spoiler has been found on AfterBuzz TV property. Please remain calm. Spoiler alert!
Uh-oh.
Spoiler
Serious
alert!
business.
Spoiler alert!
All right, so Peter's revival resurfaces. Tony-winning actress Anika Noni Rose, who last season appeared on several episodes of The Good Wife as wannabe state's attorney Wendy Scott Carr, is returning to the acclaimed CBS drama. TV Line has learned exclusively, as of now, Rose will be returning for just one episode. And we can only speculate that Miss Scott Carr might be game for a little payback now that Peter has claimed the office that predecessor Glenn Childs' ambitious underlying had her eye on. Had her numbers not been crippled by an illegal nanny scandal dug up by young Zach Flork.
Uh-oh. Maybe that's the girl who's in the house. She's a mole for Anika Noni Rose.
Maybe.
Ooh.
I doubt it.
I know, me too.
I know. But it was good. It was a good guess.
It was a stretch. It was a stretch.
Yeah, that's going to be interesting seeing her come back.
Right.
And that sweet voice that she had.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Maybe that sweet voice won't be so sweet this time around.
I hope so. I want her to get a little,
Because she's not, I mean, she's got nothing to gain anymore. So she's not on display as much as she was. So
Right.
Yeah.
I'd be interested to see if there might be a shift in the character
Yes.
now that she's not running for office, but instead gunning for Peter and some other.
Yeah.
another
I would
way.
love to kind of see that.
Yeah.
And it would be cool if they actually had her pair up with Peter, and then both of them were trying to get Alicia. That would be an interesting dynamic.
Yeah,
Well-
it would. And
I
I
know.
would love to hate her once again.
Yeah, me too. Exactly.
She's doing her job,
Exactly.
Right.
All right, that's your AfterBuzz TV news and gossip for The Good Wife, October 12th, 2011.
Thank you, Jesse. So I guess now we can jump on into some predictions.
What am I feeling? It's coming to me. It's coming to me.
Whoa. All right, so we might as well, we were just talking about it a little bit, so we'll jump into it. I mean, we now know that Wendy Scott Carr is coming back, so first things first, what do we think she can have up her sleeve? I'm going to ask you a question. Do you guys remember what she did, what her career was before running for state's attorney? Because I can't remember that. Was she a lawyer herself? Do either of you recall?
Think so. I don't remember. I
thought
don't
she was
remember.
Susie Homemaker.
That's what I thought.
Well,
She
she
just
had the
decided.
nanny.
I just thought that so she had to have some money. That was her
Susie
husband.
Homemaker.
Yeah, that was her husband. The husband was making the money. No, I don't know. Actually, I don't remember.
Yeah, I don't remember.
It'll be interesting. What I think would be interesting if she came in and was seeking the aid of Lockhart and needed them, and in turn sicked them on the state's attorney, so could add a dynamic if she maybe teamed up with Alicia to go after Peter.
I wouldn't want them
Teamed up with
together.
the firm.
There's too many females.
But there's no female, connection right now.
I want her on the other side.
Yeah.
You want everybody on the other
I
side.
know. I want her to be on Peter's side, but that would be interesting. I'm not feeling it, but it'd be good to see.
Yeah, that would be interesting. I don't know. I would like to see. I think she's gonna come in gangbusters. I know that's my line. I mean, that's my word. But I think she's gonna come in. She's not gonna make friends with very many people.
Yeah, I have a feeling she's coming back for Peter. I don't think she's going to want Peter's help or be with him. I think she's coming to cause him some trouble.
Yeah, I just want to see her speak in a more voice.
Right.
I don't want that cute little thing, that she's got. I'm so nice.
But you know what? That was so conniving.
Right.
It was.
Like
That's
when
why
I saw it, I was
see
like, she has something up her sleeve.
I know.
Like I just
Exactly.
knew that. It was that sweet, like she's holding the knife behind her back.
Yeah, but there's still that
And I don't want to see
smile.
that. I want to
Yeah.
see the other side.
Right.
The sister soldier side.
I think it would be interesting to see her let that go and now be the actual Wendy Scott Carr that we didn't see, not the candidate Wendy Scott Carr, but the actual Wendy Scott Carr.
Yeah, I would love to see. I would love to see now that the race is over. I would like to see who she really is.
Exactly. Yeah. All right, so moving on. What do we think? I mean, so we saw at the end Celeste appealing to Will. We talked about this a little bit earlier, that she needs a new home. She needs a new firm. We know she's going to be back. She's not gone. I mean, what do you guys think is going to happen? What do you want to see happen? Do you And we talked about it a little bit. We don't want her joining the firm.
We all agreed on
But that's
that.
what she was asking
And that's
for.
what she wants.
That's what she wants.
Tell her no.
Do we think that maybe initially Will might think it's a good idea, and then I'm trying to figure out where the conflict can be here? Because if he says no, then why is she going to stay around? Right. That's where I'm.
And he can't say no because then Diane might be like, well, why not? She's a great lawyer. Let's bring her on. And then of course he's going to say, well, kind of like what he did with Alicia with when Diane was like, listen, if she's going to end up being against us,
we let her go.
So he's going to have to play that card.
Yeah. I think the door is open because she got him to ask her a question. He asked her a question. He asked her, how many of there are you?
Right. And she said there was like 8 more.
Yeah. So he would not have asked that question
if he was completely shut off to the idea.
Yeah. So that door is open.
Right.
She did the perfect sales pitch. Get them to ask you a question.
Yeah.
The door's open.
Yeah.
She's coming back.
She is.
I think so.
I mean, I think that Diane's going to want her business. And I think that's going to be an issue. I think that whether or not she actually joins the firm, I think that we're going to see another sort of struggle like we saw last season where Diane and Will were almost at odds with each other when the whole future of the firm was up in the air. And I think that those scars, those wounds are going to be reopened. They're still very fresh. And I think that there is a question of trust on everybody's minds. And when I clearly think Will's going to oppose bringing her aboard and bringing this business aboard. And Diane's going to wonder, why the hell do you not want this business?
Yeah.
Like she said last week, this is my life. Yes. This is what I need. Yeah. So I do think that that's whether or not Celeste actually does come aboard or just sticks around to be a pain in the ass for 2 or 3 weeks. I think that in the end, she's maybe going to cause more drama for Will and Diane than she even does for Will and Alicia. Because it seems like that she didn't even really ruffle any feathers on that end.
I think, and I think,
right.
I think also too, will be able to say, look, we tried to bring someone on. It didn't work. You see all that stuff that happened, with, I don't remember the guy's name, but I know his real name. Yeah, he is a sexy dude.
Michael Ealy?
Yeah,
Michael
Ealy.
God help.
But I can't remember his character's name. But but that's the thing, he's going to use that, but she's going to say no, but this is a different situation. And
right.
He's going to do whatever he can to not have her work there.
Around.
Exactly. Yeah, but she seemed to make him uncomfortable.
Completely.
Yeah.
I think there's more to the past that maybe he doesn't want to come out. I think there's something there. He's obviously pushed this part of his life away. He's not that person anymore. He's not. Yeah. So I think that
I wouldn't know what he did.
He said he hasn't,
there's something.
She hasn't changed.
Yes. If she's bringing maybe there's some skeletons in Will's closet that only she can take off the rack.
Ooh, and then she's going to flash it in front of Alicia and make Alicia second guess.
Maybe.
Then she's going to question, am I really in love? Then she's going to realize she's really in love.
Yeah.
Okay. Come on.
I think so. I mean, and speaking of, I still just can't get over that final scene. I don't know. For me, it feels so strange that talking about it with you guys, I understand maybe how she doesn't have the sort of romantic attachment to Will that we've been led to believe. I see that, but it just felt it did feel like kind of like out of the blue, like this was something that she'd been longing for, and it was such like the central focus of her, like feeling like she let this go, and now for her to say no, it's not love, did kind of strike me as wait, what?
It was a little odd.
Whether
She
she's just quick.
Right. And then that look on her face afterwards was hard to decipher whether that was she was really finally understanding that maybe she doesn't love him, or whether that was she's just like, I'm lying to my brother so he'll stop asking me about this.
Yeah.
Which could be something, because she clearly does not want to talk about it with anybody. Maybe because she doesn't know what it is yet, but she's really trying to stay silent. So that one just threw me for a loop. And obviously it was intended to. It was right before the cut to black. So it was meant to leave us sitting for a week like,
I know. What does that mean?
It seems like they're leaving it seems like every show there's a question.
There's a question that they don't answer.
Yes.
On the next show.
On the next show.
I'm waiting. Like, I'm thinking, okay, I'm
Right.
going to wait. First 5 minutes, they're going to answer the question. Not.
yeah, it's like all these things are,
Yes.
these like matches are
Maybe they'll have
piling
a
up until
question and answer episode where they'll just go through all
bullet
all
point.
20,
Right,
all 20 episodes.
Well, they might have
with cliffhangers and just answer all the questions.
Yeah, getting kind of mad. I'm like, are you going to answer the question? We still waiting to see what happened in episode 1.
Right.
I want to
conclusion.
see more of the brother. Like I like him.
I
So
do
I'm
like
hoping that they keep him.
I like
you
him.
know, yeah. I
That
like him.
scene with him and his
And the mother
and Finn, that boyfriend who
Oh,
the
yeah.
tantric sex.
Oh my goodness.
And then inviting the mother, and that was
That was
amazing.
funny.
Yeah.
That was so funny.
that was a good.
That
scene.
was a
It's
really
nice
good scene.
comedic relief this week.
It was because it just came out of nowhere, and I was like, "What?" And then I was like, "That's for real."
So maybe I'll predict that he'll be on the show more often, and he's the one that's going to help the situation with the two kids because he's the one who's been seeing everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's been seeing everything.
Yeah.
He's going to be the one dealing with the sexual side of both of those kids.
Right.
Yeah.
And what do we think about? I mean, there's still some ongoing issues with Zach, and this week he finally, Alicia now knows that Peter has sort of alluded to the fact that he didn't just have sex with strippers, that there was something else. What do we think Alicia's going to do with this? Where do we think this is going to go?
Yeah, I was wondering about that. I thought about that because, you know, when she was trying to call him and she wants to say something, but I think right now
She's so hesitant. She's like afraid to give too much because she doesn't want to turn her son against his father.
Yes.
But she clearly really doesn't like Peter, and sort of like she wants him to understand what he did.
She wants to have that conversation with him, but she's like, do I do this? Do I not? But at least the best thing that I could do is show you that I love you by giving you a kiss and tucking you in.
Yeah. So I don't think she's going to say anything. I think there's going to have to be an outside element that causes that conversation to happen. I don't think it's going to be something that she just decides to do.
Yeah.
There's going to be some event, something that's going to make that conversation happen if they have it.
Yeah. It'll be interesting. And what do we talked about it a little bit, but this tutor, this girl, so out of left field, this whole subplot is so bizarre to me. Like, this girl likes like flash mobs of one on.
Yeah, hello.
Like, I've never seen something like this before. It's very weird, and I'm wondering, where is this going? What does this has come back? So it wasn't forgotten. It wasn't dropped. It clearly there is something to this.
Yeah.
I mean, do we think it's just to highlight Grace's impressionability and how she sort of just sways with the wind and latches on to anything that shows her attention? Or do you think there's something more to this? Like we talked about, maybe she's a mole. I mean, I don't know if that's the case.
She's a mole.
But there's clearly something wrong here.
There
like,
is.
It leaves me uneasy, and clearly, it left Owen uneasy. Owen was very uncomfortable walking into that
And I
room.
love how he didn't hide it.
Right.
I love how he did not hide it. He was just
like
the whole time. He's just
look his face like
yeah, the whole time. I love that he didn't hide it. I think she's a setup. She is a setup for something bigger.
Yeah.
They've been doing a lot of setups to me.
Yeah, they've been doing a lot of setups with no conclusions. And,
Right.
And I think it's interesting because it seemed like those characters were a little bit more interactive in in season 1, but they're not as active in season 2. Or they allude, oh, Grace is here, but she's really not. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like she came down the stairs halfway.
Right. So I'm curious, and I just thought that they might have been weaving them out a little bit, but I see that they're bringing them back after this episode.
Yeah. What worries me, and something that just popped into my head, is, we were talking about mole, and we don't think she's a political mole, but what if she is something that's an agent maybe of Peter to get Grace into a situation that would look poorly on Alicia's parenting?
Oh my.
Like, I think that there's still some very unsettled ground there in terms of Alicia and Peter. I don't even think we've seen them interact once this season yet since she kicked him out.
Oh, he came over to pick the kids up.
Okay.
Did we see him together? I think the only time I remember seeing them is when they were in the courtroom, and he was like, "I know your tricks."
Oh, right.
That was the only time I saw.
Yeah. So, I wouldn't be surprised by that. And I could see that being more plausible of her being a mole, per se.
All of a sudden, I wanted to see all of a sudden, I wanted to see Peter and Alicia get back together. Not now, but later. Look, both you guys are alive.
I think that
door is shut.
I don't think so.
That you don't think so?
I think something's gonna jump off.
I wish it was.
The only thing that I could see Is Will doing something to Alicia that would send Alicia running back to Peter?
Peter would go gangbusters on him.
Right.
Oh, now that's a good one.
That's a good one.
I could see Peter because Peter, he has a past and a history. And I think
because
he could
looked
make
like he'll cut somebody.
He could make a phone call.
Yeah.
Handle it.
Yeah.
He could make a phone call.
Take care of this
Peter's
person.
that kind of guy.
He's gangsta.
Yeah.
That is a good one. Well, I think that I don't know that we can have a prediction that'll top that, so maybe that's where we're gonna leave it this afternoon.
I think so too.
All right.
Thanks to Peter.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, thank you guys for tuning in.
Thanks
Again,
for
I'm
tuning
your host
in.
Billy Nilles here with Chrystee, Pharris, and Natasha Dixon.
Dixon.
Check in with us next week where we talk about next week's episode. We'll see you then.
Bye.
From producers Kevin Undergaro and Phil Svitek, engineer DJ Jesse Janity, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. If you have questions or comments, be sure to buzz us at info@AfterBuzzTV.com. And you can find us on Facebook or follow us on Twitter by searching for AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz
you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.